there's a lot of players in this story. This is from volume 2 of Rabbi Khan's, Rabbi Khan's father's Shmos V'Sipurim.
Going to record the story?
It's recorded, yeah, it's also recorded. And every day it's uploaded separately on MTC's, whatever it is, website. You can find the story of the day. It's in MCC's YouTube, but it's there and available. So the Gaon, the Bavrom of Kalisk, now he was a very colorful figure. I want to go, without going into his story, but he was eventually became a contemporary of the Alter Rebbe. He was a Talmud of the Maggid. I'll just tell you that he differed strongly and deeply and was a cause of great Agmas Nefesh for the Alter Rebbe. He sided with Rabbi of Mezhebush, who was the Baal Shem Tov's grandson, who were against the Shit of Chabad. He felt that Rebbe went too far and was not faithful to the Baal Shem Tov Shitta, which is just a revelation of Pnimius HaTorah on a more seeing level, intuitive level, rather than the Alter Rebbe in Tanya, Shmiya, the details and breaking down of the analysis. The Alter Rebbe went to see the Baruch Mezhebush to try and to reconcile the differences, but the Baruch, as he was known, would have no part of it. And this is Bavram Kaliska sided with him in this machlekes. The end was kind of short-lived. They just, the different Chabad went its way, and the rest of Polish Chassidus went its way. But at the beginning, there was it was a collision in the cause of great Agmas Nefesh. This Avram Kalisko ended up going to Yisrael, settling in Hebron as the first Aliyah of Chassidim. And he was also, Avram Kalisko I'm speaking about now, was a very colorful figure. And his Avodah, his Derech and Avodah was with great Yispailos and self-denigration. And many of the other Talmidim of them, especially the Alter Rebbe, were not pleased with this Avodah of Toyu. And it was largely responsible for the opposition of Chassidus, which was sincere. I mean, they didn't know what was going on, and this was all very foreign. And the Kaliska Shita was extreme and radical. They do crazy things, and there was somebody that go running in the street dressed in furs and coats to invite ridicule, all part of their avodah of self, of bittul. Anyway, all of these drachim, had their time and place, and Akoponim. So this is the story with him as a child. He was 11 or 12 years. I heard this story in many guises. I think this is the most accurate. So when he was 11 and 12, because there's the detail here. So this Avram Kaliska was a genius. And his father was a chassid of the Alter Rebbe. So he came to the Alter Rebbe and he said that he has a son as a genius. The problem is that he's nobody can best him, and he's growing up to be obnoxious. He's brighter than his teachers and certainly his contemporaries. So what's talking with them? We've got to do something with this child. The Alter Rebbe said to him, bring him to me, I'll talk to him. So he comes to the Alter Rebbe says to him, you know how to learn, can't learn? And he says, yeah. Good. The Alter Rebbe stands up and takes down the Shalis Chuvas of the Rosh, the Ben Osher, and shows him a Chuva. Now the child had learned this before, but he shows it to him. He says, learn it. Understand? Yeah, he understands. He grasped right away the question that was addressed to the Rosh and how he answers. Now the Rebbe asked a big kasha on the Rosh's Chuva. And he says, no, to the boy, he said, answer my question. He couldn't answer it. Starke kasha, the Alter Rebbe asked. And then the Alter Rebbe answered it himself. The Alter Rebbe says, it's a good answer. He says, yeah, it's a good answer. Then the Alter Rebbe proceeded to dismantle, to upreg to dismantle this answer. And he says, yeah, you agree, Ogischlagen, dismantled, yeah, you've disproved it. And then the Alter Rebbe gives an answer, another answer. Agree, a child agrees. You have to be a genius to follow this whole pilpul. And so it continued. The Alter Rebbe brings a proof and dismantles, a proof and dismantles. In the end, he says to him, whatever I tell you, you agree. Kennst du Schlemmen? You don't know how to learn. Well, you just agree with me. So this, burst his bubble and humbled him. It seems from the context of the story, as the story continues, that he needed further inspiration in this area. So now he got a little bit older as a teenager and he came to the Alter Rebbe. And the Alter Rebbe shows him, again, the same similar discussion. We don't get the full context, but hear the story. And he shows him another Chassidic tshuva from the Maram of Rottenburg, the famous of the May of Rottenburg. You know the story with him, that he had been kidnapped. He left Germany because of the conditions there. Many Yidden were leaving. The taxes were exorbitant. Nobody could live. And he left and he was kidnapped and imprisoned in how do you pronounce it? It's the border of France and Germany. Alsace.
Alsace and Lorraine.
Yeah, it's on the Rhine over there, in a fortress there. And he was kidnapped because they wanted to get the Jews should redeem him. And he refused. He wrote a tshuva then, they should not redeem him because this will invite God, further kidnappings. He died there. He was there for 7 years and he died, and it took a long time before his remains were finally taken. His body was whole and he was buried. And he was called the Meir HaGoyla, the illuminary of exile. We're talking about the 12th, 13th century. Anyway, so he shows him, Alter Rebbe shows him a tshuva of the Maram of Rottenburg. Somebody asked him a question. And the Maram answers there, such and such. And he brings a raya from the Gemara. But the raya was a week, it seemed like a weak raya. So the Alter Rebbe says to him, to this Avram, bring stronger proofs. Which he did. And he brought 5 rayas from Shas to the Psak Din, to the answer of the Maram, much stronger than the Maram's raya, his proof. The Alter Rebbe himself added another 6. So you have 11 rayas now from all over Shas, very strong rayas to the ruling of the Maram. Then the Alter Rebbe proceeds to dismantle and upschlag all 11 rayas, his 6 and Avram Kaliska's 5. The only one that can't be budged, as weak as it is, was the raya brought by the Maram. And here's the point of the story. So he said to him, the Alter Rebbe said to the teenager Avram, you think the Maram went through this whole process that we did? No. He saw the truth, and that's it. B'chinas re'iyah. B'chinas re'iyah, it was self-evident, without having to go through the analysis, and this was the only raya, and no other. Elsewhere, it's brought in Chassidus emotional. I heard it not in Chassidus. I heard this. It's like being in a dark room, unfamiliar, and you're trying to get out. So you start tapping a vant, and you come to a cupboard. This could be the door, and it feels like it because it has you open it, and it has hinges, but then, no, it's not. And it's a window, another door. It's a whole process of what? Of trial and error, and analysis and rejection. And finally, he finds a door. There's a handle. It opens and pushes it, walks out. He's out. Whereas if someone in the same unfamiliar room, the light goes on, the door walks out. He doesn't even notice cupboards and windows. The truth. So that's the Maila he brought out. That's the Maila. This was humbling the child. The Maila of the Rishonim, it's a whole different level of learning. It's like Yerushalmi, Bavli, the same model endlessly. Teresh B'Ksav, Teresh B'Alpeh. It's the truth is evident. The truth, the emes shines, and only a Rishon is able to appreciate that. And our generation cannot. So this kind of Re'iyah Taka is your own level of neshama, your own avodah, etc. However, here's the big however. As I just mentioned, it's also the distinction between Yerushalmi and Bavli. Yerushalmi discusses the subject. It's in a few paragraphs. There's no kashis and stidus and reminus. And the Bavli, the same subject. It's a whole laborious task. As the Gemara says, the Pasuk in Iyov, the Machashakim Yeshivani, Pasuk, sorry, in Eicha, you place me in darkness, Zu Talmud Bavli. With Mashenk in Eretz Yisrael, where it's Kedusha and high in the Neshamas, and Avidat Yisrael Machkim, the very atmosphere, Machkim, Chochma, because the Likus is palpable. So what is the discussion? That's the emes and finished. However, as we all know, a machlek is between Bavli Rishami, Halachak and Bavli. You're saying the unfair advantage. When the machlek is in Achroinim, when Rishonim, in that same genre itself, the halacha is like the latter Achron, or the latter Rishon. Why? Because using the example that we said of being in a dark room and finding your way out, at the end of the day, who appreciates what a door is as opposed to a window, as opposed to a cupboard? Who has taken ownership of this truth? Not it's evident. Here's a door, walk out. But the Pnimius is the one dafka through Shemiah. It's a difference reading a book or watching a movie of the same book. So on one hand, seeing the movie, it's easier. It's all coming to you, and the etzem, the truth of it, has been impression. But when you read, because you've invested and you construct word by word, paragraph by paragraph, the story on another level that's deeper. On another level, the etzem is in the ear, but you don't have it. It's made its impression on you. But this is the paradox, the dafke, the haravanya of Bavli and in the Pratim. So therein, you don't have the etzem in this glorious revealed way, but the connection to the etzem is deeper. That's the mile of the later generations, the mile of Bavli, etc. Okay. So hope that in some way answered your question, David. In some way. All right, friends. We'll begin Shachris. So we'll close.
Shkaya.
Thank you very much.
Have a good Shabbos, Shkaya.
Good Shabbos, good to see you.
Rabbi.
Shkaya.
Big event.